Tracking breaking news out of D.C. Today, the Treasury saying the U.S. will run out of money on June 5th. Previously, they had said June 1st. Biden trying to reach a deal with the House Republicans taking the economy hostage. In their own words, that's literally how Matt Gaetz described it. One of the final sticking points, Republicans are fighting very hard to make it more difficult for people to get enough to eat. Yes, to get enough to eat. They want to add new work requirements for food stamp recipients. Today, the top GOP negotiator saying that food stamps are a red line.
Are you willing to drop that work requirements and just
Hell no, not a chance.
So far, the White House is not giving in, and there's no final deal yet. Still, hard-right Republicans are threatening to revolt because of rumored concessions to Biden, like keeping current spending levels instead of slashing it. One saying, quote, "This is totally unacceptable, and it's not what we agreed to." Which brings us to McCarthy's weak hand. Remember, a single far-right member can force a vote on removing him. Some might refuse to back McCarthy's deal. And top Democrat Hakeem Jeffrey says Democrats are not exactly looking to rescue McCarthy.
Kevin McCarthy is assuming that Democrats are going to be able to provide the rest of the votes and make up the difference. Is that a miscalculation on the Republican side?
Yes. Thank you.
Joining me now is Kurt Bardella, LA Times contributor, Democratic strategist, and former White House Oversight Committee spokesperson for Republicans and my country music Sherpa. Kurt, thanks for joining us tonight on The Beat. I want to start with this breaking news because this is kind of key for me, right? We're all worried about June 1st, and now it's the 5th. It reminds me of that scene in Mean Girls where the principal's like, "I will keep you here all night." We can't keep him past 4. "I will keep you here till 4," right? Like, if you can change the deadline, it sort of exemplifies how silly and how manufactured the whole debt crisis is anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, let's be clear, too, that this is a MAGA-manufactured debt crisis. This is a situation that began back in January when the extreme right wing of the Republican Party held the entire chamber basically hostage and held Kevin McCarthy hostage and wouldn't relent until they extracted concessions. We asked after the wake of those many rounds of speaker votes, what did Kevin have to give up to get the speakership? Well, here we are now with a very real-world situation that has a massive global impact and footprint, and we're about to find out just how much Kevin McCarthy gave away to acquire the speakership and have his name above a door, because that's what it's always been about for him. The fact that, we have these dates kind of massaging around, moving here and there. We're trying to buy as much room as possible to avoid default and avoid, our economy completely collapsing. It tells you that this is an uncertain situation that is very fluid, that there's going to be a lot of twists and turns, but it is exclusively the creation of the House Republicans. I am so sick of watching the media try to paint this as some sort of both sides, like there's equal measure going on here, equal responsibility. There is not. It is single-handedly the creation of the Republicans in Congress.
Kevin McCarthy is like the Thanos meme. It's like, what did it take to get the Soul Gem? Everything, right? Like, I mean, he gave up so much power to be in this position, but he's in a very weakened position. Kurt, you used to work in Congress. You know how these negotiations work. What does it mean that Kevin McCarthy, when he's trying to negotiate with Biden, knowing that any Republican in the entire caucus could say, "I want to call a vote," and snap their fingers? What does that do to Kevin McCarthy's negotiating power?
Every single person who is sitting across a negotiating table from Kevin McCarthy is sitting there knowing that whatever he is saying at that exact moment could be blown out the window 5 seconds later by a Matt Gaetz, by any one of these rebel conservatives that held Kevin McCarthy successfully hostage for so long in January. They can all just blow up right away. It's kind of like, what's the point of negotiating with Kevin McCarthy when he is so weak, when nothing he says can stand any type of scrutiny within his own conference? McCarthy, frankly, shouldn't be at the table until he can actually deliver the votes needed to get this thing forward. Otherwise, it might get to a point where Democrats and the president might be better off trying to find just 5 or 6 common sense Republicans who don't want to see our economy collapse and say, hey, what can we do to get you to yes so we can move this forward and get something done?
Kurt Bardella, thank you so much for clearing this up for us on The Beat tonight.